All right. It is 4 o'clock. We'll begin our meeting. We always call to order. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Would everyone take us over here? Ready to begin? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Next, we need to have approval of a flexible agenda.
I move to for a flexible agenda.
Okay,
Second.
motion was made, seconded by,
Oh, okay, there you go.
can you hear me?
No.
All right, good. All right, so motion was made, seconded. Is there any public comment? Seeing none, we'll bring it back to the board to vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Is Rob on? Okay, 6-0 with one person absent today. Thank you. Next, we'll move on to consent items. Do we want to make a motion to?
Anybody want anything pulled?
Oh, I'm sorry. Does anybody want anything pulled from the consent? Okay, seeing none.
I'll make a
President,
motion.
President Gilbert, just want to draw everyone's attention into the red folder. We had to remove a leave of absence from the personnel report. So there's a updated and the correct report.
Okay, thank you, Superintendent Lewis.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the consent items.
Okay, motion made. Have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, second from Trustee Kangas. Do we have any public comment on our consent items at this time? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and bring it to a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Is there anyone opposed? Seeing none, again, the motion passes 6-0. With one absent. Okay. We'll move on to item number 3, which is the Nevada Association of School Boards. And Heather Jackson is our NASB director, and she'll update us.
Hopefully you guys all got the monthly email from her, the March one, and I hope you noticed it's got kind of a new look. It looked more enjoyable to read. So I just wanted to start with the two things that were at the top, because that was kind of what we had training on at the NASB meeting. And that was the 2 important qualities of a school board member. And number 1 is that you have a conviction that public education is important. And number 2, that you have a conviction that the student achievement is the primary purpose of the school district. And so that's kind of what we talked about and we're trained on, of just, that the reason we have a school board and the things that we're in charge of are the public education and student achievement. And that's what we should be focused on. Just if anyone's interested, the National School Board Association Annual Conference is April 2nd and 3rd in San Diego. One other thing I wanted to mention really quickly before I tell you the last thing, NIAA has just added 3 parent positions to their committee. And so as NASB has been asked to help fill those. And so if you are aware of any parents that would be interested in being part of the NIAA committee, please let me know, and we can work with them to try to help fill those spots. And then just lastly, there was an email today that Deb Oliver is resigning as the director, and so we will be working to get a new one in the near future.
Thank you, Heather. Does anybody have any questions for Heather? Okay, we'll move on to board reports. We'll start over here. Doug, do you have anything that you need to report over the last month?
Nothing pressing. We just had another grading committee meeting, and I'm not sure how it's going to work when Rami steps down. She's leading the thing, but we're working forward, or it's moving forward. So
Good. Thank you.
Nothing.
Nothing? Okay. Nothing? Nothing. Heather?
Same thing with Doug with the grading committee. And I just wanted to just mention that we've had a lot of discussions on behavior and if that should be a part of the grade or not, late and absent work, redos. There's so many different ideas and different things that it's a big job, and that's exactly what Doug's talking about. Like there's a lot to it. So we're continuing to work on it.
Nice. Thank you. I attended the employee group meeting. It was my first one, and I learned a lot. I don't know what I really that you'd be interested in hearing, but it was a good meeting. And then I also attended the chamber board meeting last week. It was also my first one, and I have to tell you, I have to say it was enjoyable. And the reason I say that is we got so many. I just want the board to know, and Superintendent Lewis to know how many kudos we got from the committees there, and telling us what a great job we're doing. And thanked us, wanted me to thank you for keeping the schools open. And just that they're very pleased. Let's see. Also, I think that's it. I have one tomorrow morning. They do a coffee that I'll attend with the chamber as well. So I think that was everything. Yeah, it was, wasn't it? Okay, next we have correspondence. Does anyone have any correspondence to report? No? No, me neither. All right, moving right along. Next is our good news. And I have a couple of things that I want to talk about. The first thing that I guess we'll do is maybe show our video. John, is that okay? We do that first. This was a video that was made from a trade school at Western Welding Academy out of Gillette, Wyoming. And they came all the way down. They were on the road doing their tour. And they came to Douglas County, and we put together this little video for you to watch. And I just thought it was really a great video for us. So we'd love to share it with you. Go ahead, John. Our fingers.
We're going to Nevada, Minden, Nevada. I got a good friend there at a local high school. We're gonna go start welding with these guys and girls. We're headed out, we're on the road. See you on the next weld. As you can see, it is a beautiful day here in Gardnerville, Nevada at Douglas High School, and it's so nice outside. I set up and we're gonna weld outside today. We're gonna raise awareness for blue collar trades and why they're important and why you guys shouldn't be ashamed to get dirty, to work with your hands, build cool stuff, and feel good at the end of the day after doing all that. One of the coolest things about welding I like to tell everyone is you don't have to be talented to weld. Believe it or not, the best thing that's going to get you through a welding class or through any blue-collar trades in your life is going to be just hard work ethic.
Look at that! Houston, we have a welder.
You can go apply for Western Welding Academy at applytoweld.com, and you'll go through them questions that there's no wrong or right question answer to those questions, and it'll basically tell us if you got what it takes, if you're our demographic of person. Basically, I'll tell you the secret sauce to getting into Western Welding Academy is you got to have a good work ethic.
It's super important to have a skill set. Nobody can take that ever away from you. No, I just want to thank you guys all for taking the time out of your busy schedule, going around the country, inspiring individuals to get in the trade, because like I said earlier, it's very important for somebody to fall back on something that could, you know, provide a great living in the long run for somebody. So.
All right, that's a wrap here in Nevada. We had a blast at Douglas High School, but we're on to Utah. We'll see you on the next Weld.
So there you have it. I thought that was pretty cool. I wanted to share that with you guys. We want to thank Ryan Gonzalez, who's the teacher, the welding teacher, for making this happen. And this is, you know, these are the things that can make a difference in a young person's life, to have just to be introduced to these type of things. I mean, the more we can introduce them to, the better. So Gonzalez for that. Something else I want to talk about, good news, is I'm sure if you live in Douglas County, you've heard about it, about our sports program. We had very successful, I'll start with basketball, our girls basketball and boys basketball. The boys won the state tournament in the North, and the girls came in second. They both got to go to Lawler to compete for the state title. They both got beat, and they got beat by quite a bit. But I have to tell you, one of the things that I was the most proudest of our young people was the way they took it and the way they handled it. They showed so much character. Their smiles did not leave their faces. They held their heads up, and they were just, you could tell they were proud. The other thing that was pretty cool is the way our community, the sheriff's department did an escort with the lights and everything from Douglas High all the way to Lawler. Boy, if that doesn't show the young people that our community has their arms wrapped around them, I don't know what does. But I was very proud of that and of their program. We also had a very successful wrestling program as well. I believe some people went to state. And then also our girls golf won the state, the 3A state, and they came away as winners. So there's a lot of good stuff happening here in Douglas County and at Douglas High School and in our district. We'll move on next to our superintendent's report.
All right. As I always do, I'd like to start off just acknowledging donations. Douglas High School music program. We'd like to recognize John Barnett for a donation of a trombone to that program. Yesterday, DCSD held our second learning forum of the school year at Douglas High School for all DCSD certified and classified employees, as well as administration. We were blessed to have former DCSD teacher and administrator Mickey Trujillo serve as the keynote speaker for the event. Mickey's address, titled 5 Ways to Ignite Hope, was very powerful. It was definitely timely and very well received by our all staff. We were able to offer over 100 sessions, with almost all of these being taught by DCSD staff. That's the most sessions that we've ever had, and it takes a lot of courage to get up in front of your colleagues and be willing to do that. So I'm awfully proud of them, obviously, for that. Based on feedback from our September forum, we were able to offer, as I said, more sessions that met specific needs of classified employees. That can sometimes be the challenge. How do we offer sessions for our custodial staff and our grounds and maintenance? Our training including hauling snow from Whittle High School down to Douglas High School so they could train on our new snow removal equipment that fortunately we've only had to use, I think, one time up at the lake this year. But it's good to be able to train all of our staff. You never know when they might have to see themselves on a piece of equipment. This is now our 5th learning forum, and I really truly believe they get better and better. And I'm proud of myself that I actually did a good job of delegating on this one. I've burned the midnight oil for most of them, setting it up. There's a lot that goes on behind the scenes to get rooms assigned. Everyone has a schedule. Shannon Brown took that over from me this year, and he and his assistant Lisa Vincent did an amazing job. It went off without a hitch yesterday. So that was nice. I appreciate that. Since our February meeting, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. I want to go back to that. Sunday, I spent most of the day pretty stressed out because the accident on County Road that took out the power also took our fiber out. And so we did not have internet at Douglas High School all day Sunday. And the man across the room, John Inter, was up till 1 a.m. Working with Curtis and Sons to get the fiber spliced and internet back to Douglas High School. Unfortunately, without internet, yesterday's event would have been really almost impossible with our reliance. So thank you, John. I appreciate that. Since our return, as I was saying from our February meeting, CDC issued new guidance, which fortunately removed the requirement for students and staff to wear masks on bus transportation. So we immediately implemented that. So our bus drivers were certainly relieved, as are our students as well. So that was a nice change. I was attending the NAS meeting in Winnemucca, but our district administrators did an instructional walk at Powaloo Middle School. And I think, oh, you were not there. That's right. And it, by all reports, was another successful instructional walk. DCSD enrollment counts through the March reporting reflect an enrollment of 5,427 students, which is down 11 from the February reporting and 43 down from where we were in March of 2021. Since our February board meeting, we held a communication meeting at Powaloo Middle School last week. It was a great meeting. I think we went almost an hour and a half. Just great dialogue and great questions. And it's always nice to have the opportunity just to sit down and talk about what they want to talk about. So just a heads up, the Carson Valley Community Theater and Douglas High School are teaming up to present the Putnam County's 25th Annual Spelling Bee, which is a musical, and it'll be held on March 18th through 20th and the 25th through 27th at the CVIC Hall in Minden. I was at the CVI today for training, so I always get those confused. The musical features cast members from both the community and Douglas High School. Douglas High School drama teacher Amy Sando will be the director of the production, and DHS band and choir teacher Mark Porter will serve as the co-musical director, along with UNR student Cameron Tolbert. Douglas High School junior Freddie Baker will serve as the assistant student music director, and former DHS student Francesca Melander will be the choreographer for the musical. The Carson Valley Community Theater asked the Douglas High School Drama Department to work with them on a production after they received a $5,000 project grant from the Nevada Arts Council and an additional $5,000 grant from Douglas County to improve the theater's sound equipment in the CVIC Hall. So we look forward to a great production and encourage the community, obviously, to support the arts in our community. And it's been about 18 months since we've had any kind of performance like that in the, especially in the school district. So as you probably noted, the personnel report today was quite extensive, and it contains 21 certified and 4 classified employees who will be retiring at the end of the 2021 school year. I certainly look forward to obviously honoring all of them at our June meeting, which we have annually done, and we'll be able to talk about each one of them as they get ready to retire. Among that group, I wanted to note that longtime Minden Elementary School principal Ken Stoll has announced he will retire at the end of this school year. Mr. Stoll came to DCSD at the start of the 1991-92 school year and has spent the past 19 years leading the students and staff at Minden Elementary. Fortunately, Ken will be joined in retirement by his wife, Mary, who has been a longtime art teacher here in DCSD. I will always be connected to Mr. Stoll, as in 1995, when I came to interview, I got to teach Mr. Stoll's class. That was back when you had to do a lesson as part of the interview. Fortunately, his kids behaved well and made me look good. I also want to note that Director of Transportation Brian Linford has announced that he will resign from his position at the end of the school year. Brian has served in this capacity for about 5 years. And we all know what a great leader he has been in the transportation department. So we will certainly miss all of them. So kind of with all that, I just want to give you an update, let you know that I'm going to be promoting Assistant Director of Ed Services Shannon Brown to the Executive Director position when Rami retires in July or at the end of June. And I've also removed the interim tag from Powaloo Middle School Principal Adam Dedman as well. Tomorrow will be the 5th and final day for certified staff to request transfers into any open position within DCSD that they are licensed to fill. On Thursday, all positions not filled by transfer will then be posted to external candidates, which will include 1 year only teachers who the district desires to have return in a full-time position next year. So we have streamlined that process. If positions are not filled by transfer that are 1 year only teachers who have taught with us this past year, streamlined process to bring them back quickly into those vacant positions. As a follow-up to my recent announcements regarding administrative retirements and resignations, we have posted the following administrative openings to external candidates. So currently we have an executive director of accountability, grants and progress monitoring, which is Mr. Frazier's position across the room. Assistant director of education services, which will be Mr. Brown's. And obviously as the principal at Minden Elementary and the principal at Carson Valley Middle School, and the director of transportation. So we have lots of hiring in our future. And I certainly would expect several internal candidates to apply for several of these positions. So we'll keep you updated as we move through that process. And this is Mr. Gardner's busy time of the year right now. So that's all I got. Any questions?
Okay, seeing none, we'll move along. Thank you, Superintendent Lewis. Next up is item number 8, and that's roof maintenance project, SGG, for discussion and possible action. I believe Scott and Phil will be presenting this to us this evening. Thank you for being here.
President Gilchrist, Scott McCullough, Douglas County, for the record. This item before you is a little history before we get into the exact item. Last year, there was a direction from the building committee and Keith to go out and do an RFQ for architectural services. We did in the fall, went out, we received 4 and we interviewed. And the reason we picked Paul Cavan Architects, was he was the most qualified for the jobs that we're going to execute in the next 3 to 4 years, which includes restrooms, bleachers, revitalizations of campuses. So we selected him, and now we'll have a commitment with him for him to be our designer for the next 3 years of these projects. So the first one that's coming up is the roof maintenance. Now, a little history on the roof maintenance. 5-4 years ago, we said we need to start dedicating some funding to maintenance projects, roofing maintenance, painting maintenance, carpet. So this is an offshoot of that. But what we found out, we are very deficient in the roofing maintenance in the district. We have issues district-wide that we need to address more than an annual maintenance at $100,000. So this contract that we're bringing for you first is a maintenance at Scarcelli. If you notice, the roof is rusted, and most of the color is gone off the Kynar is worn off the metal. The metal is still intact, but it will rust if it's not treated. So this project will go in and treat the roof, basically recoat it. It's not a painting. It's it's epoxy. It's a more aggressive coating. But also part of the coating is drainage improvements. We have so much deterioration district-wide from storm drain and runoff. So what we're going to deal with on this project is a lot of storm draining, getting that stormwater, rainwater off campus without creating the ice. They have tremendous ice areas over there in big rainstorms that freeze and become a hazard to students and staff. So part of this project will be for that. So and also part of this project will be some maintenance over at Pawalu. We set a budget of $1 million to do the work. We had some preliminary estimates down, and we feel that's in the ballpark to do the work. Paul has then reviewed the scope, retained a civil engineer to deal with the treating the stormwater and moving that off campus. So that is the gist of the contract. That's for you for award.
We have any questions? Whoa, somewhere in between. Do we have any questions from anyone? Okay, Doug?
How is a design service required to do for roof maintenance?
That's a good question, because it's more than just coating the roof. I mean, we have to go through and create a bid document, to specify exactly what the work is going to be done, which is not only, coating the roof, dealing with any penetration through that roof, dealing with rain gutters and storm drainage and any of the improvements that have to be done. So the design services is really, creating the bid documents. And again, Paul Cavan on the selection out of the interview has done extensive roof maintenance projects with the state of Nevada. So his strength in this department, in fact, he just opened bids on a $2.7 million contract for the state yesterday for the same thing, roof maintenance on the Capitol building. So his expertise in roof maintenance is why we recommended him for the qualification.
So he'll be reviewing, or he'll be making the specifications and that you'll take out to bid, or?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. So this is to prepare the bid documents, for the work, which will go out to bid as soon as we have it ready to go.
And we're adding snow fence to the roof. So that's being engineered.
Thank you.
What did you say you're adding?
Snow fence to keep the snow.
From sliding all the way down?
Because it's such
Yeah.
long runs.
Right.
the kid can
Okay.
take it out.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did I read you're going to do something where you put the water underneath or something? Did I?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
You're going to run the,
At Scarcella, you have storm drains that just
just come
drain to
out,
the ground.
right?
We're going to collect that and either store it in the ground in an infiltration gallery.
Okay.
We're going to pipe it and move it off site into that storm channel, on the south side of the campus.
Okay.
And I'd like to give Paul a chance, since he did come down, to make any comment, with either the RFQ or anything.
And like Scott said, we're doing some roofing projects.
I haven't done any roofing projects with Washoe County School District yet, or with Douglas County School District. But I do have a lot of school district clients. I understand how school districts work. Not only, the big school districts like Washoe County, but the rural school districts out in Eureka County and Lander County. You guys are kind of somewhere in the middle, but your processes are very similar. I'm very comfortable with those processes, and I feel I'm very qualified to do these projects with you. And likewise with, restroom buildings and other types of maintenance. I'm more than happy to do the small projects. They lead to bigger projects. So is there any questions while I have the mic in front of me?
Anyone have any questions for Paul? I
Well,
guess
thank you
not.
for your time and consideration.
Thank you for coming down. We appreciate it. All right. So do we want to make a recommendation?
Sure. I'd go ahead and move that the board award the bid for the design review services work for the district roofing restoration and improvement project for Scarcelli Elementary School and Pawalu School to Paul Cavan Architect in the amount of $78,700 as recommended by the Director of Facilities Phil Demas and Project Manager Scott McCullough.
Okay, there's been a motion. Is there a second? Okay, seconded by Tony. Is there any public comment on this? Does anyone have any questions or comments to make? Okay, seeing none, we'll bring it to a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Seeing none, the motion passes 6-0. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Oh, you got to stay though. Don't go anywhere. Okay, item number 9 is the pavement maintenance project. Again, for discussion and possible action. And go ahead.
Thank you, President Gilchrist. And again, Scott McCullough for the record. Again, this was the first maintenance project we established 4 years ago about taking care of deteriorated pavement in the district. Obviously, we couldn't go tackle, every square foot. So we implemented this program where we spend $100,000 a year until we're caught up. And then we can do it into regular maintenance to maintain the asphalt. Again, the benefit of maintaining asphalt is you can coat it in lieu of removing and replacing it, which is approximately 10 times the cost of maintaining it. So it's economic just to take care of it, and just the appearance, of a maintained parking lot, sends a message, that is a well-maintained school. It's the first thing you see, and it's important. That's why this year we're doing DHS. I mean, I believe Ross made the comment, is like how that, that look of that parking lot gives you the impression of what else is not being taken care of.
Right.
So we wanted to say, we want to take care of it. We did most of it when we did the STEM building, But again, that was, what, 7, 8 years ago, 9 years ago. And it's missed its 5-year rotation. And in that duration, it just deteriorates more and more. So what we did was 4 years ago, we created a set of documents that shows the square footage of asphalt at every school in the district. We utilize those documents to create our bid document. We take this year, it took DHS only because that was the only one we knew we could afford. And we put that with our bid documents, put that out to a sealed bid. And we received 3 sealed bids, and the range was from 99,000 to 185,000, I believe, from SNC. What we attempted to do, and were successful doing it, was hoping that we'd have a contractor come in and realize our budget was 100,000 and fit that scope into that amount, and they did. So we have created a great value for the district for them to come in and do all that work at once. So in June, before the end of the fiscal year, we will do the entire parking lot. And the biggest thing is we're going to take care of the wide cracks that you feel going through that, and pack some hot mix asphalt into that, and then recoat it and repaint it. So it'll all look, black and new, at the beginning of school next year. So I'm available for any more questions.
I just have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
John. Okay. We've used this company before.
Yes, they were a success. They were awarded the contract last year.
Right.
And again, provided great value last year to the district on that contract.
You were happy with the
Very.
services we got. Okay.
Price wise, obviously a no-brainer. That was part of my question. West Coast has worked with this. It's a familiar name. And we've been satisfied. And there's cost consideration for doing the additive projects, and then we get up to that $100,000. Okay.
Correct. Correct. Because again, when we bid the project, we can't exceed that 100, or becomes a public work project, and it exceeds our budget.
Right.
So we have to tailor our bid, to get as close as we can to that $100,000 mark.
Okay.
That's why there was 3 additive alternates to a base bid, in the bid documents.
And we appreciate that. Time frame of the project is this summer? Or?
Yes, this is all in this fiscal year, so they'll have to be
Okay.
done before June 30. So as soon as school's out, we'll be working on this right away.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Yeah, what did they do last year? You said they were awarded a contract.
Last year, they did, at DHS, we removed, there was an aisle or drop off, on that Nevada lawn, that long sidewalk that was so deteriorated that we couldn't rehab it. So last year we removed, replaced, that was about $28,000 worth on that. And then the other school they did was Minden and Pinion, they also did surface treatments on those schools last year.
Oh, still look good.
They do. Great. We found biggest deteriorator to that is snow tires. When you get excessive snow tire use, you see that asphalt, fall apart, especially with either the type 1 or type 2 slurries that we apply to it. So take them off after you don't need them.
That's funny. All righty. Does someone want to make a recommendation?
I'll make a motion. I recommend that the board award the bid for the DCSD pavement maintenance project to West Coast Paving in the amount of $98,293 as recommended by Director of Facilities Phil Demas and Project Manager Scott McCullough.
Okay, motion was
I'll
made.
second it.
Second by Heather. Thank you. Is there any public comment about this item? Seeing none, we'll bring it to a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Thank you, gentlemen. Okay, we'll move on to item number 10, which is the first reading of board policy number 205, guidance and counseling. And this is for discussion and possible action. And Superintendent Lewis is going to talk about this item.
So this is just part of our trying to go through policy and just make sure they're maintaining, updating. Obviously, we got lots of work to do in policy still on that. So this is the guidance and counseling. We're just trying to bring this one into compliance with what we're required by the state. And so the main change here is the addition of restorative practices. We are required by state law now prior to being able to suspend any student to engage in a restorative justice plan. And that's basically based on how are we going to make the, whatever the offense was, right. And in working with both the person who committed the offense and then any victims. So that's just adding that restorative practices, which were added by the state. There's some language cleanup there. And then the addition of school counselors shall adhere to the American School Counselor Association ethical standards. That's important because the performance evaluation, which was developed by the state, so the counselors have their own NEPF document, teachers have their own, and counselors have their own, and it was based on those ethical standards. So the framework of the counselor's evaluation is based on those ASCA standards. So this is first reading. And then just also down there, just an update of the appropriate NRS that this refers back to. So available for any questions.
Anyone have any questions from the board? No? Okay. All right. Does someone want to make a motion?
Motion that we approve the first reading of board policy number 205, guidance and counseling.
Okay, motion was made. The second. All right. Before we vote, is there any comment from the public on this item? If you could go ahead, please, and state your name for the record. Thank you. Yes, please. Yeah.
Virginia Starrett. And I hadn't looked over the agenda before I got here tonight, so I wasn't aware this was on here. I might have a more thorough set of questions that I would like to have asked, answered, or concerns. I noticed in the reading of it, it looks like the word emotional was added. It's underlined or it's in red in the text. So I'm wondering if
That's
that
correct.
wasn't inserted. And I didn't think that was addressed in any of the remarks that the superintendent made exactly why they felt the need to add emotional in there. I am particularly concerned with the school all across America, including this one, taking on the role of in local parentis of what parents do. And parents are the ones who usually are in charge of addressing emotional problems or emotional issues with children. And the schools seem to be bound and determined to push the parents out of the way and instead feel that they are somehow bound to fill a gap that they imagine exists and somehow meet the emotional needs of the students in some way. So I'm not sure this kind of direction is what's good for our students, and especially students in this county where we have a very conservative group of people here in our county who really feel that there should be parental control, not the school interfering in what the family is doing. And then I also have some concerns about the restorative justice, the language there, because that sounds very much like social justice. And I'm wondering just what measures are being taken to bring about restorative justice. If it somehow involves students admitting they have biases, implicit bias, as according to critical race theory and things of that nature. And if so, I think that also needs to be given a hard look and not accepted by this school board, as it is a political stance, not one that has anything to do with actual education. Thank you.
Thank you.
So in response, the domain is social emotional by the state. So it is updating that from what the state.
Okay,
laws
so
require.
that's why it was added,
Yep.
because it's updating it. Okay, got it. Can we respond to this or no, we can't. Okay, sorry. Dang it. All right, we'll go ahead and take a vote. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? We have one opposed, two opposed. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 in favor and 2 against, for the record. Thank you. Motion passes, by the way, sorry. All right, we'll move on to item number 11. And this is the first reading of revocation of board policy number 220, computer software copyright policy. And again, Superintendent Lewis will lead us through this.
So we're asking tonight for the revocation of board policy 220 due to redundancy. Often when you add new policies, you get some redundancy. And so I've included in your packet tonight board policy 225. In reviewing this with Director of Information Technology, Mr. Enter, and Executive Director of Education Services, Rami Cronin Mack, we believe everything covered in 220 regarding copyright is included in 225. And thus we don't need two policies and ARs that speak to copyright.
All right. Any questions from the board?
I'll make a comment, and 220, you know, it was 1987 and they're evoking the word floppy disk and things like that. So I certainly feel it's outdated. And I do feel the AR is all encompassing.
All right. Thank you. Anyone else? All right. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion. As soon as I get to it. I recommend the board approve the first reading of the revocation of board policy 220, computer software copyright policy as recommended by staff.
Okay, a motion was made,
Second.
seconded by Ross. Is there any public comment on this? Seeing none, we'll bring it to a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes 6-0. Thank you. So this is very unusual that we get to our public comment way before public comment. But what we're going to do is we have to be here at 5:30 for the public comment. But what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take anyone that wants to speak at public comment. So you don't have to just sit here and look at each other. You can come up and do your public comment now, and then we will stay here till 5:30 if you wish to. And then we'll have our second public comment at 5:30. Has anyone signed up for public comment? Joe, is there anybody signed up? Do you know? Yes. We are moving item 12 up. Yes, and we're going to leave that at 5:30.
Well,
Can we
12
not?
is,
Oh, we're going to move the second one. It's 15. 15, oh, say, I'm sorry. Thank you, Karen, for clarification. So we're going to move item 15 up now, and then we'll have our public comment at 5:30. Okay, I think we're ready. Thank you. And we have Miss Virginia Sterrett. Why don't you come on up, Virginia, since you're the only one for public comment, and we will state your name for the record once again. If you want to. You're good. I'm sorry, we are, okay, I spoke incorrectly. Let me correct myself, okay? So the last public comment of the evening is actually item 15. So we're going to move that one to right now, but we will still have public comment at 5:30. So if you'd like to come talk now, or you can sit and wait till 5:30. That's up to you, my dear. All righty.
If you're gonna have public comment, then you're gonna have public comment.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. A couple of them. All right. Thank you. Go ahead and please state your name again for the record.
Okay.
Well, we're done.
Yeah, like you forgot already. Virginia Sterrett. Okay. You acknowledge you have Marxist critical race theory ideology in staff training. You acknowledge you have Marxist critical race theory ideology in professional development of our teachers. You acknowledge you have Marxist critical race theory ideology in your libraries. And you cannot deny that lessons promoting Marxist critical race theory ideology are readily available for any teacher at any time to use in the classroom through apps in fulfillment of curriculum and standards. Yet with a stern expression and a straight face, you promise Marxist critical race theory ideology is not impacting this district, its schools, its teachers, or its students. For many decades, the world of education in America has been dominated by the left. Most textbooks are steeped in ideology of the left. Teachers go through universities that align with the left. But until recently, the impression held by most Americans, and particularly American parents, was that K-12 schooling was about learning the basics and not about teaching sexual identity or moral values, or certainly not foisting political ideology on students. That has changed, and trustees like you sitting in those seats are responsible. Right now, your refusal to reject Marxist critical race theory ideology in this district is both alarming and dismaying. You are acting against this community, which is overwhelmingly conservative-minded and supportive of traditional values. To wrap up, I would refer back to the young woman who spoke out in favor of critical race theory at the last board meeting. Everything she said on critical race theory was a mischaracterization of the argument against critical race theory. I would suggest she is exhibit A of proof that critical race theory is actually being taught here and influencing students. I would also add that your chair, Ms. Gilkerson, commended the girl for being brave in making a comment. Yet most of what she said consisted of complimenting you as board members and how great you are in your actions as a board. That's hardly a case of speaking truth to power. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Is that it? Yes. We have somebody online? Okay, sure. State your name for the record, please.
John entered Douglas County School District. I just wanted to refer back to the incident on Sunday. I want to personally thank Curtis and Sons Construction publicly because of their help with getting the fiber done. I called them at 9 o'clock Sunday morning. They had people out there by 10 o'clock. They worked on that fiber until 12:30 at night. So I just want to thank them for their help in getting us back up and running and making sure that that learning forum did not have a hiccup. So thank you, Curtis and Sons.
Thank you, John. Anybody else? Nobody online? Okay. So can we go on to item 14 and then we'll just wait for public comment at 5:30, I guess? No? Okay. So I guess we'll move on to item number 14, which is prioritizing agenda possible items for future board meetings. Oops. Currently, we've been able to go through quite a few of these, so that's been nice that we've been able to work on them. We do have 3 currently on here. You can all view them yourself. Is there anything else that you'd like to add or take off?
I'd like to make a comment on the first entry that myself, Tom, and Mr. Chichester had entered or put on the upcoming agenda list. It is time sensitive in that August and September timeframe, but it's been there since 2019. And I'm wondering, if there's still a taste for it, number one, which there is in my mind. And maybe we reword the where it says training. And the 2 things I'd like to do would be probably also include the SBACs. And then also, the training could be revised to discussion or presentation or anything. Maybe it's not as time sensitive as that, but those are the 2 changes I would propose.
Can I ask a clarifying question? maybe?
Absolutely.
Okay. So are you seeking more a presentation on what assessments were given here in the district? Or are you wanting the ins and outs of maps, specifically how that data is used? How it informs instruction?
I think information it would be adequate because I would like that to understand the process better.
Okay.
Will we have, Superintendent Lewis, will we have results then
Yeah,
from the testing? So we do want to go through the results, right? Is that what we're saying too? We want to know.
That's not exactly what I'm hearing, but
Yeah.
correct me if I'm wrong. I think you want to know more in the fall, a student scores at 217. What data, what information do we get from that in terms of where kids are on the standard? And
and that is correct. And if the results are more of a taste, we don't have to change that exact
Yeah, I mean, we can do results too, but I think you're one, just more of an understanding.
I'd like to
of
get it
how they're
moved. I'd like
used
to
and-
get it moving
Okay,
from 2019 and get it on a agenda.
Okay. Sounds good. It's on there. We'll add the S back to it.
yeah, we'll kind of do a presentation on all assessments that ACT,
Okay.
you know, what assessments that were
Perfect.
giving
That'd be
and
good.
which ones were required to give and so forth. So,
All right.
okay.
Okay. Is there anything else?
Did you listen to that over there?
Yes.
sir?
Yeah, big deal.
Yeah, yeah. We'll work on it.
All righty. Doug?
Okay, Keith, tell me the name of that survey that I keep bringing up. The FEL.
Like,
Climate,
what is the exact name of it?
something climate.
Climate.
Oh, yeah, something climate.
Okay, well, I would like to bring before the board the discussion of the implementation of verbiage to the effect of making the survey opt-in for students, parents versus opt-out.
Did we do this already? We have
No, we
not
did
done this
not.
as different? Okay, thanks.
No.
We did an
This
opt-out.
isn't necessarily different. We had a discussion as a board that as a district on that survey, we would take out question 4
And we
and
did,
that we would notify parents
right?
and provide them a copy of the survey prior to implementation. And you chose to opt out in that
That's what we
decision by the
voted.
board.
Well,
That's what
we
we
chose to
voted.
give parents the option to opt out. I
Correct.
would like to discuss the option of making the survey in general an opt-in
That's.
survey
the
rather than
opposite of
what it
we
is
did.
currently.
What was brought up at the time? You brought that up at the time.
You brought, yeah, we already,
Well, we didn't have it. We didn't have an opt-in or opt-out. At that point, we added opt-out, but we didn't discuss whether we do opt-in or opt-out at the time. And so that's what I would like to discuss.
I don't know. I don't, Doug, I'm not against what you're saying, honestly. I'm not sure that we've already haven't done this. And I guess we'd have to check.
Let's do this. Let's put it on there and we'll do some research.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay,
of
that's fair.
Exactly
Sure.
what the board discussed.
Okay.
And then I'll come back in April with an
What,
update on that. Okay.
The
that's a
survey
great
is
idea.
not till the fall, right?
Yeah, it's not time
Okay.
sensitive right now.
Yeah, all right. Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay. Okay, yeah. Thank you, Superintendent Lewis. 'Cause I can't remember. I thought we had discussed it. but
So
whatever.
just to clarify, the topic then would be basically an opt-in process for all surveys in DCS. Is that what you're talking about? Okay, so the future agenda item would then be a opt-in. You want to discuss whether or not we require parents to opt in on that cultural climate. I'll get you the official title of it. So we're not saying that one or. Okay,
I have an agenda item.
Okay, Heather?
I'd like to get a presentation on what we're doing as a school district for the goals that have been put together by the state. So one of them is to get Nevada into the top 10 in academics. And then the other one is to get I feel like, Doug, I can't remember the name. But it's the diplomas. It's the college, career and college. Thank you. Career and college ready diplomas. Getting that up to, I believe it was close to 50% for the state. So I would just like a report on like kind of what we're doing in our district to work on reaching those goals. Do I need a second? Okay. So do I need a second? How does that work? Was that clear enough?
Yes, we need, you know what? Okay, we were remiss too.
I just,
Okay,
just for going back to the last item that
Doug,
trustee Engelkirk
right?
brought up, what I heard the question was whether the issue had already been addressed, and I wasn't clear what you guys were directing Keith to research and bring back in April.
I was under the impression, I'll speak for myself and you can speak for yourselves, but I was under the impression that we voted we actually had a vote and voted for that survey for people to opt
We did, I made the motion.
out. Yes. So we had already done that, was my understanding.
Is that what Keith is looking into to bring back
Yes,
in
I
April?
believe so, right? To see what happened with that item.
So then what I'm doing is I'm coming back to educate you on what action you took in the previous meeting.
Yeah, my stipulation would be the last meeting, the main thing we brought forward was question 4 and removing it. And the other thing that came as a result of that is we decided to do an opt-out. There's just been a number of public comments over the last year or so about this opt-out process not necessarily working, where some students were given surveys or their parents were not informed or did not get an informal request to opt out. And so I'm saying the system as it is maybe isn't working so well, so we change it to an opt-in.
Okay.
So if that needs a second at this time. Okay.
Okay, so we need a second on Doug's.
I second it.
Anybody second?
Yeah.
Who was it?
Oh. Do we need the second carries or it just stayed on there?
Oh, it's already on.
Yours
there.
is
It's
already
already
on.
on
Yours is
there.
already
Just
on. I was just
clarify it so
clarifying.
we get moving.
All
Thank you.
right. Well, that's the last thing that we have until 5:30. So I think we will just take a recess until 5:30 and we'll come back. All right, we're there. All right, we're back in session and we have public comment at 5:30, public comment. Is there anyone that would like to speak? Anyone in the audience? No? Is there anyone online? Okay, meeting is adjourned.